For this video, we're going to be starting to look at how to type and how to make use of the simple functions in Microsoft Excel. So we kind of touched on this when we used the Using Functions tab. So for this time, we're now going to look at the Simple Functions tab. So our goal for the first area is to use simple functions on a hard-coded list. So when we talk about a hard-coded list, we are talking about what those numbers are in brackets over here from 1 through to 10. So we're going to be working in this area here using our count, sum, min, max, and average function. So to start off, let us use the count function. Remember, the count function is going to count how many numbers are present. So the first step we do, remember, is to press the equal sign. Because we want to use the count option, we can either type in count, it can be in either capitals or small letters, it doesn't matter, it still works. So the first option there is count. So it reads, counts the number of cells in a range that contain numbers. So there we go, that's our first option. So what we can do now is we can open our parentheses or our brackets and we can start typing in the value. Or the other way we can do this is we can go equals and we can start typing out count. So I've got there COU, and the first option is the count option. If I press my tab key on my keyboard, alright, it fills it in for us and it opens the parentheses. So I'm going to now add or count the values. So it's a hard-coded list, so all I'm doing is typing in the values rather than a reference. So for me it's 1, semicolon, 2, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I close my parentheses and I press my enter key. There we go, it has counted 10 numbers, which is exactly what we want. The next one is our sum, so we are adding all of them together. Sum of 55, so if we go 10 plus 9 plus all the way down to 1, it gives us an answer of 5. The next one is our minimum, so what is the minimum number there? If I type in min, okay, so the first option is mid. No, we don't want that, we want the min. I'm now using my arrow keys to go scroll down the list. So there we go, min. I press my tab key, it opens the formula for me with the parentheses. And then I add in the same details. It returns our value of being the lowest at 1. We're going to go to, our next one is max. Pasted my values in. The highest value being 10. Now average is to find the overall average of everything. So it returns the average of the values. So I press my tab key, completes the information for me, paste my information, and it returns an average of 5,5. Now that we've worked out how to use the count, sum, min, max, and average function using a list, let us use the same things now using a range of values. So here for this one, we're going to be using simple functions on a range of values. So we're going to be working out what is the value of the most expensive car on this list here using the sales price. So to find the most expensive car, we're going to be using the max option because it's finding the maximum value. So we're going to equals max, and I'm going to go from here D19 colon to D24. I'm going to close my bracket, and instantly we can look here, the highest value is 446,290. If I hit that, hit the enter key, the column is just a little too small. There we go, it returns the value of 446,290. So we want to know what was the value of the least expensive car. So the least expensive is obviously going to be using a minimum function. So that is going to be return us a value of 161,600. So let's go equals min D19 to D24, close bracket, and I press my enter key, 161,600. What is the average sales price? So if we're asking for the average sale price, we're obviously going to be using our average function. So let's go equals, there we go, there's average. I press my tab key and I select my range and close my brackets, and it returns a value of 280,110. And then how many vehicles were sold? So base your counter on the sales price. Okay, so if we're going to be how many vehicles are sold, we're going to be using the count function. So we're going to go equals count. We're going to select our range. We're going to close our bracket, and 6 vehicles were sold. Alright, so let's have a look here. I've selected that area, alright, representing all 6 vehicles. If I come down to the bottom here, alright, next to these views, I can see the average at 280,110 Rand. If I come to the average, there we go, it's worked it out for us. Count being 6, 6, and if we want, we can add information here. So if we right click, we can go add in a minimum option and a maximum option. So average 280,110, count at 6, minimum, yeah, same value, and it's given us a total. So if you are unsure if your formulas worked, all you have to do is select the area and then come and look down here. So using simple functions and mixed data. So understand how simple functions handle dirty data. So when we talk about dirty data, it's a case of if there are a series of numbers, words, blanks, right? So we want to now use list one's data where we have our numbers, words, and blanks. Okay. So numbers, we're going to obviously use our count function. We're going to select our range. One thing about the count function, it will only count numbers. It will not count words. So I press enter, 13. Let's have a look here. Count 16, because now here it is adding in our words and our blanks. We want to sum the total, so find the value, sum. Again, it's added up the numbers and not the words. Same thing with min. Max. And then the last one is our average formula. So you can see how it all interacts with each other, working out and dealing only with numbers and not really words or blanks. Now under list 2, we've got words, blanks, numbers, and an error. So if you came up with an error formula, this is how your error will appear as not available. So let's see how the same things deal, but with this, with an error option. So numbers, we're going to be using our count option again. Okay, it counted 12, alright, one series of numbers is missing, excellent. Next one, sum. Alright, there we go, we've encountered our first issue. It's returning a error because now a sum function doesn't know how to handle this, whether to handle it as a blank, a word, or a number, so it's getting confused. So it's returning an error formula for us. Let's try with min. Also an error. Let's try with max. Oh, I want max, not match. Also an error. And let's try average. Also an error. So we got to be very careful when we try use our sum, min, max, and average functions when there is an error in our formula or in our list, because we will always get an error. And the formulas might not be incorrect, or the functions might not be incorrect. It might be that the data that they're trying to read has an error within it. And that is the end of our simple functions tab. Our next video, we're going to be looking at conditional functions.